Time reshapes our memories. Your recollections of past events have already been influenced by the experiences you've had since then. How you remember those memories and the feelings you had during those times have been influenced by your current perspectives, altering your view of those past memories. One of the ways to capture these emotions and thoughts at precise moments in time is through writing. Writing is the boundary in which someone can transform thoughts into something tangible for others to interpret in the present and future. Writing differs from other forms of expression. Words can be erased and sentences can be reconstructed to express an idea or emotion more clearly. Writing offers a deeper and more intimate experience for both the author and the future reader compared to other methods of communication. Journaling provides a way to capture emotions, thoughts, and experiences while still in a moment. With just two simple tools, you can transform your thoughts into a format that can be revisited later, enabling you and others to relive the words you've written. Writing is a simple yet powerful way to transform feelings and ideas into something relatively timeless. All the notebooks and pens and other things I use in this video can be found in the description. I have an affiliate link to my Amazon store if anyone is interested on the very specific things I am using. Over the last 5 or 10 years, I've really seen the power of being able to document things in my life and experiences, and I guess more specifically in a written format, because back then is when I started to actually journal, and now today I continue to do so, but now I get to also see what I wrote years ago while still actively writing, and it's just had a pretty powerful impact, I guess, on my life and perspective about how I feel about things today as I did back then. I don't think I really need to convince anybody more that writing is powerful, but more specifically, I want to address that why should someone journal? And I think there's a lot of key things that can be gained by journaling. The main reason everyone should journal is that it allows us to reflect on our lives, not just as memories, but with a deeper understanding of our experiences and thoughts at a specific moment in time. We all encounter both wonderful and challenging moments in our lives. However, when we look back on these memories years from now, it's with a different perspective. Like mentioned earlier, when you look back on memories, you're remembering those from the past. However, you're remembering them from the person that you are today, which is different than the person you were. So thus, the memory has been altered, and it must have been. So there's value in documenting the things that we've done in our past, or more importantly, doing right now, and note vividly how we feel about things or what we're experiencing, and then we can look back on this moment in the future just to gain a better understanding of how we felt back then. And I really want to drive that point home, is that the things that I'm experiencing today and feeling today, I will look back on years from now as a memory, but I will not be able to fully replicate and understand how I feel today, because in the future I'm going to be looking back on the memory as the person I am in the future, which is not the person talking to you right now. And this definitely applies to everybody. Another great reason to journal is actually quite enjoyable and relaxing to write when you aren't being forced to by school or work or some other entity. The simple act of just like forming shapes on a piece of paper and getting thoughts out of your head onto the page is quite meditative. I think every day as a society too, we dive deeper down like this technological rabbit hole of electronics and software. However, it can be really refreshing just to kind of step away from that every now and then and embrace the simplicity, and writing definitely offers that. Obviously, you can write on the computer and tablets, but I'm mostly talking about handwritten stuff. It's a lot more intimate. Writing in general is just great because you can learn a lot about yourself when you write down your thoughts and experiences. It kind of fosters this sense of self-awareness and helps you understand your place in your environment and how you're reacting to it. Just kind of like that self-awareness, I think, is pretty important, and a lot of people can benefit from that. Obviously, the more you write, the better you're going to get. So by journaling and just writing in general, you're going to be improving your writing skills and enhancing your ability to articulate and formalize your thoughts. This is definitely a powerful skill that should not be underestimated, and everyone can benefit from this regardless of the career path they're on. Being able to understand your thought and articulate it so others can understand it on a deeper, level is something that, yeah, again, everybody can benefit from this. If you do write a handwritten journal, which I highly recommend, over time you will improve your handwriting, which is also just enjoyable and kind of makes for a positive impression on other people. In today's world, many people have messy handwriting and it just comes natural because no one really does it anymore. You don't need to. However, having clear and neat handwriting often surprises other people and definitely stands out from the rest. My handwriting is still sloppy, however, I've taken corrective actions to try and improve it, so I've been practicing a lot. It's getting a little better each day. So you're probably wondering, like, what should you actually journal? And the right answer is anything you want. However, I think that's a little bit too broad for a lot of people, so I will give some recommendations. If you don't have anything specific you want to journal, I recommend starting like a weekly or monthly journal of like an experience that happened that month, or just something that you kind of want to remember later on in the future about how you felt about it today. Like, I'll get to it in a little bit, but I have a journal where I write in it once every like month or two, and it's just something like kind of significant that happened where I felt like putting it on the page and diving a little deeper into my thoughts and understanding why I felt like I needed to share this, like with myself almost. Definitely more of a personal journal I don't want to share. However, that's something I recommend for other people. Again, just document your thoughts because, like mentioned before, you're not going to remember exactly how you felt about things today in the future because you're going to be a different person. I think it's important though to find something that feels effortless in journaling. Like this should not be a chore. I'm not saying you need to like meditate on the journal either or anything like that. However, for me, that's something that kind of offers this sort of relaxation and being able to get thoughts out of my head and onto a page. And it kind of clears my mind in a sense. So find something that is effortless that you can do really without thinking, or journal without really thinking about it, and that you actually want to write. Definitely don't feel like you need to write everything down either. I think I read it as Meditations on Marcus Aurelius, and I remember specifically there was a segment in that book, and Marcus Aurelius mentioned to not journal all the time because he's not going to look back and read all the things he's written in his past, which is understandable, makes sense. I think it's more important to find very important things and journal them about your life as opposed to every little thing. However, again, you do you figure out what you think is important because that is subjective. Another journal you can make is a dream journal. I think this is a great way to capture just like the inner workings of your mind at night. I try to write down some dreams every now and then. I kind of combined this with my own personal journal. However, I think it would have been wise to keep it separate and also be consistent with it because I didn't write down every single dream. But that is also another great idea. Some people might not consider this to be journaling. However, I kind of lump things in the same category. I think the proper term is like a commonplace notebook or something like that. However, if you want to learn a language, you want to learn a new skill, get a journal and write down in that journal everything you're learning, how you feel about learning it, and just other things to help you remember. And it kind of helps you almost like embody that hobby or that thing that you're trying to learn. One thing I was doing when I was learning Japanese was keeping a journal, putting all the stuff down that I'm learning, but also trying to write in the journal and trying to write my thoughts in that notebook. I didn't really get that far in the Japanese. However, I would like to pick it up one day again. No matter what you're learning or really doing in your life, the act of writing there's a reason why it's so powerful and still used today to the extent it is. It's such an active form of communication between yourself and others that it can't really be compared to other things. I mean, obviously it can be. However, it's powerful. If you want to remember things more, or if you want to be more immersed into something, writing about it, I think helps with that memory retention. I don't have any studies or anything or experiments based on this. However, definitely something that I've noticed in my life. So what do I specifically journal? Well, I have a whole bunch of journals with me, and I've been doing this since I was about in elementary school. My earliest memory actually was when my cousin was journaling in this little beach house, and she would write every day what she did that day in a notebook, and I thought it was such a cool idea, so I kind of started doing that in my own life. It kind of fell off for a few years, but I kind of formed my own sense of importance in what I want to journal. Definitely do not do it every day. So this main journal I have entries back from 2015, 2014. This is my personal journal where I keep kind of all my thoughts and things that I want to remember in the future about experiences that I had or feelings that I had about certain things at certain times. Because again, I change. I notice I change. Even when I go back on these earlier entries and memories, the memory I have today is a little bit different than how I wrote it down. However, if I had to pick one that I think is more truthful, it's definitely the journal entry. And that's why I think it's so important. But I try to write in this about every month or two, just try and put something really important and powerful for me to remember later on. I was looking through some of my old notebooks to actually put some B-roll over the audio, and I noticed a very interesting journal entry from a few years ago that I kind of want to share with you all. So the entry date is September 20th, 2018. I was in my third year of engineering at college. I'm going to read this verbatim. It might not be the most eloquent thing ever, however, it is exactly what I wrote. Deciding to resume writing these journal things, I really hate forgetting past memories or experiences. A memory of an event or a time in someone's life is never the same when it is viewed as a memory. That memory gets replaced with thoughts or points of views become change about what happens whether we like it or not. Every day we grow and change how we feel about things. It is good to go back in the past sometimes to relive how we thought and felt during that time. I hope to recapture that by writing it down. Me at 7 years old playing Pokemon upstairs with my cards is a memory I have, but I don't know exactly how I felt or what I was thinking during those times. Too much has changed and shaped my thoughts. It is impossible to go back and picture what I was thinking. I want to remember how I felt during certain times of my life so I can go back and reflect on them to grow as an individual and understand my past more completely. Wow, that's actually 6 years ago. I was going to say it's like 2 years ago, but no, it's been about 6 years ago is when I wrote that down, and I still feel the same about journaling and capturing my thoughts today. I just want everybody to be aware that if you don't journal, there might be a time in your life when you kind of wish you did. And even though I didn't have like the mental understanding as a 7-year-old to journal about Pokemon, how I felt, it's something that I wish if I knew at that time as a kid, I would have done. However, regardless, I'm going to look back when I'm like 50 or 60 years old and these older journals and be like, wow, that was what I did or how I felt during those times. It just kind of puts some things in the perspective, but even at the time of writing journals, I was aware that I did not want to lose memories of certain things, but vivid memories of how I felt. Another journal I have I actually have 2 Pokemon journals. One of them is more, like, if you want to call it a commonplace notebook. It's got all the details regarding the Pokemon games, I guess more specifically the Game Boy games. But yeah, I got like my team, I got all the Pokemon I trained. Just trying to keep a nice little track record of it. The other Pokemon book I have is definitely more of a journal. I am tracking the days that I play, what is done in the game those days, how I'm kind of feeling about the game, and stuff like that. I just think it's going to be kind of cool later on in the future to look back on those entries and just kind of say what I do, when did I do it, and how I felt about it, you know. I have another journal / like commonplace notebook about finance. I just write like my information, just financial stuff, kind of personal again, but just stuff like that, like stocks and stuff I'm looking at. And this last book I have is kind of more of an everything commonplace notebook or journal. This is definitely more of, I guess, a notebook as opposed to a journal. But I have in here every like engineering things that I've learned that I don't want to forget. I have in here like some really not even motivational, but just quotes that I live by. I have like a little bit of a diary entry here and there about things I just need to stay focused on. Then I just got things that I don't want to forget that I learned that I think is applicable. Got some random things like if I want to start a Pokemon card business, I keep every like couple months, or not even months, but yeah, every couple months I can watch the same YouTube videos and learn the same information. Or it's like I'm just gonna put it in a book, and if I ever have to go back to it, the information is there. If I ever want to do that, it's right there. But yeah, definitely got a lot of journals, but I'm not super serious with it. If I feel like writing and I want to get something out on the paper, I'm just gonna do it. And I think a lot of people maybe make writing too challenging. But it's not, it's enjoyable. Years from now, you may revisit your old journal entries and reflect on your past. These memories won't just be tainted recollections in your mind. If you write about your experiences vividly and descriptively enough, you can truly relive moments from your life, reading how you felt and what you thought about a specific moment. This will be unaltered and untouched by time, because at some point in your life, you decided to write it on this page and you meant every word that was written. If you haven't started a journal yet or a commonplace notebook, now is always the best time. Be sure to check out some of the videos on the channel, but take care everybody.